Hi everybody, it's September 14th and I'm going to do a short tarot reading on the coronavirus, COVID-19. We're all pretty sick of it. Very sick of it. Although some people seem to be kind of enjoying it a little too much. I don't know. You see people driving around wearing their masks in their car and such, and I don't really understand. But I do wear my mask if I'm in a place where there's lots of people. And I am practicing social distancing just to play it safe, be on the safe side, because I have been working the last 3 months or so. So I'm not exposed to a lot of people, but I am exposed to people. So kids are going back to school, so that's going to be interesting. And for many of you, you will be affected by the fires that are happening right now. It's pretty bad. Right now, here I am on the Sunshine Coast. We were supposed to have an Indian summer. It had gotten really hot, and then all of a sudden the smoke came in, and it's actually quite bad here right now. So I really feel for the people who are in the thick of it in Oregon and California. Not a healthy situation for people that are worried about lungs if they already have compromised lungs with the whole COVID thing. So bless all of you out there. Unfortunately, you can't be doing a lot of exercise, be running around outside. You have to kind of stay in. So that's really boring with all the other boring things that have been happening with all this. But anyways, let's just do a short reading for, wow, we're already in the middle of September, so it'll be from the middle of September to the middle of October to the middle of November. And let's just see if we have any good news coming. I am planning on traveling, as usual, early December. And going back to Mexico. Many people I know are choosing not to go back or are waiting to see what happens. If I have to semi-quarantine the way that I have been here anyways, and the way I was there before I came here, and I have to go back and live that way, that's okay. I'd rather do it there and go surfing. So I'm glad that everybody I know is okay. I did get tested today before I went and got my hair cut. They had one of those heater guns or whatever that they put on you to check your temperature before I went to get a haircut. So that was interesting. I think the worst part of all this is how frightened people have become. I think that's really unhealthy. So when you're looking at health issues, people having a lot of anxiety and being really frightened and missing out on social contact, that causes other health issues, which are serious as well. Okay, let's go ahead with the reading for today. You know, I just do a short reading, kind of an overview, in a nutshell kind of reading. So actually right now we have the 10 of Cups. This is amazing, this card. This card is saying, let's celebrate. We're good. We're good. Let's celebrate. Okay? So this card is just basically telling us that our cups are full. We don't need to worry. We need to celebrate life, be grateful for what we have, be grateful for the people in our life. It's all about, and you can see here there's a family, so it's all about relationships and the people we're close to. This is our strength, and we know this, but we are, I think, being sort of forced to take a closer look at this, and have even more gratitude to the people that are with us right now. And we're forming closer ties to people that we might not have in the past because things are more intense. So relationships paramount. Our cups are full. The love is there. And there is joy. The little children are skipping around, maybe because they're so happy to go back to school. Tongue in cheek, I don't know. That'll be an interesting one, all these kids going back to school. And then beside it, we have the Four of Swords, which we've seen before in my readings, and this speaks to, it can speak to illness. It can also speak to just taking time to rest and take care of yourself. Okay. So it could be that this card is saying, well, we're all happy moving back into our regular lives, and there will still be the need to take care of ourselves and possibly some sickness and some death as well. It is possible because we're moving back into interacting in a way that's more normal now. I mean, not everybody, and lots of people are still being careful, but you know, it's been 5 months. People are moving into, so there might be more people that are getting COVID. That doesn't mean they're going to get really sick or even end up in the hospital, though. Okay, and the thing that upsets me about the news is that they talk about case numbers, but they don't necessarily tell you, you know, that a lot of people, for example, have been tested positive and aren't even that sick. So that part, you know, we don't have all the information ever about what's really going on. So resting, taking care of ourselves, and possibly, you know, some more illness caused by people running out and starting to play again may be inevitable, and also part of our learning process as far as how we're going to deal with this in the near future. And then here we have the Queen of Wands. It's just so interesting that we've had so many females that have been recognized in the health sector as leaders. And, you know, even back in the day when the only job a woman could get would be like, you know, a nurse or a school teacher or whatever, we have some very powerful women on the international level that are directing, you know, what's happening with respect to protocols and how we're dealing with COVID. So that's kind of nice to see women at the forefront for a change, you know, a lot of women up there being recognized for their talents and their smarts. And then, okay, so then we have this Ace of Pentacles, and this is reversed. So, I did speak last week again about my concerns that there was going to be some economic hardship, downfalls happening in the fall for us before Christmas. And this is speaking to that again. You know, it's just inevitable with all the businesses that had to close down for a while that are just scraping by, or people that have been unemployed. You know, people living in a lot of debt who have been unable to make those payments, those kinds of things. So that's the reality of what's happening in the late fall as well. It's going to be tricky moving forward with investments, new projects, and things like that coming up. Right now, I know people are making lots of investments. There's lots of activity, actually. It's interesting. But in the next few months, that's going to slow down. It's going to become more difficult for people. And then we move into the reversed Wheel of Fortune. And, I mean, it's as it says, the Wheel of Fortune. It's sort of like a reminder that we don't have control over the things that happen as much as we'd like to. And we do try and control our lives in certain ways and in ways that we can. Hopefully we're not trying to control anybody else, because that's not good. But the Wheel of Fortune is like, you know, we have to be resilient enough and flexible enough to be able to deal with what's happening and make the most of it for ourselves. And you can see some businesses have flourished because they just changed their approach, and, you know, they're just making all this money because of COVID. I'm not really talking about that end of things, but I am thinking more about, you know, the way that we're resourceful. What do we have? What can we share? What can we live without? You know, who are the people that are really looking out for us? There's things that are happening that we just don't have any control over. We need to just kind of take a breath and know that this is part of life's ebb and flow. It happens to all of us. You know, sometimes it happens harder to some people than others, and sometimes a whole bunch of things happen to someone at the same time, making things much more painful. I'm sure the fires, where they're really bad right now with people who are scared of COVID and their lungs being compromised, that this is a very traumatic situation. This is very intense. But the Wheel of Fortune says, you know, this too shall pass, right? We have things that just come into our lives, and we have our ups and downs. So we have to be able to be flexible and know that this is not the way it is. We're in process. This is all in motion. Things are always changing. There's so many layers. and not to think the worst case scenario and not to panic, and just know that sometimes life is hard. We just do the best we can, okay? And the justice card at the end. And to me, the justice card is saying, the justice card is saying that we are also responsible for certain things that have happened. You know, we are, whether we don't maybe want to deal with that, or maybe, you know, we want to blame someone else or pass the buck. Things that are happening in the world right now really are the natural consequences of our own actions. And the reverse justice is saying things are going to have to be resolved so that we have a more fair and just world that we're living in. People need to be doing more to help each other and care about the environment and care about each other. There's no question about it. COVID is sort of pushing us to look at this and say, okay, well, we can just run back and have things go back to normal and just continue contaminating the earth and creating natural disasters with our behaviors. And, you know, the people in certain areas of the world just continue to suffer from these things, from these actions. Or maybe we're going to step up to the plate. You know, maybe we're all going to decide, less consumption, let's go solar, let's go off grid. Let's start taking care of people and not putting them in care homes. Like, there's a lot of things to think about with what's happening. So hopefully we put our best foot forward with love and try and make the world a better place, irregardless of the stress that's happening around us right now. Anyways, that's your reading for today. I'll see you next Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye.